I came across this video on TVC News Nigeria. They were explaining the reason why Simon Ekpa was arrested in Finland. I am sure a lot of us have heard about that right now, so I'm not going to waste your time. I just like watch this video and listen to everything they have to say in this video. Please don't forget, share the video on all social media platforms, share it to friends and loved ones. God bless us to do so. Watch this video.
Let's get to our conversation this evening. We're monitoring developments in Finland, where pro-Biafran agitator Simon Ekpa has been arrested alongside 4 other persons over alleged incitement of violence and terrorism financing. The Finnish Centrist Criminal Police confirmed on its website that the 5 men were arrested following a request by the National Bureau of Investigation. The police also mentioned that the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of Ipop is alleged to have promoted acts of violence against civilians and authorities in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Let's tell you that this is not the first time he will be arrested. In February 2023, Finnish authorities arrested Mr. Ekpa shortly after he threatened to disrupt Nigeria's 2023 general elections. Report has it that he was arrested for collecting money for alleged terrorist activities. The pro-Biafra agitator was later released shortly after being questioned by Finnish police. So will he be repatriated to Nigeria at this time? Big question on the show this evening. I'm joined by former Director, Department of State Security, Dennis Amakri. He joins me live from the United States. Also joining me, security expert Oluwafemi Aratokunle. He joins me from London. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin from the U.S. Mr. Amakri, Simon Ekpa has been arrested again, but this time it's happening days before his planned Biafra Declaration Convention in Finland. What do you make of this development?
Thank you for having me. Simon Ekpa has been, he has even gone to prison. In 2021, he actually went to prison, for the same reason, spreading terrorist propaganda on social media. And then now he has been arrested again. And I think what it might, I don't know how long he will be kept, because in 2003, when he was arrested, he was let go after some time, So this time, I don't know if they're going to keep him, because it has been a concern for the Nigerian government, at the same time also for the Finnish government. Although he's a Finnish citizen and he's even politically very active, I think his actions have embarrassed that government. But I don't know the kind of, although Nigeria has tried to extradite him, I don't know the treaty they have between the Finland government and Nigeria. But by ordinary agreement or cooperation between security agencies like the National Intelligence Agency in Nigeria can collaborate with their MBI and then maybe get him back to Nigeria to answer for all the crimes that he has been accused of.
Mr. Aratokunle, the allegations against Ekpa this time has to do with terrorism funding, as well as allegations that he is causing trouble, some violence in southeast Nigeria. Just like Mr. Makri said, this is not the first time he was arrested and released by the Finnish authorities. As a matter of fact, the Finnish government in time past has raised concerns about his rights as Finnish citizen. What do you think is happening this time? How big do you think these allegations are?
Thank you again for having me. And the first thing I think I'm going to say is, number one, he has been arrested before. He was released. Now rearrested again for the second time or the third time. And don't let us forget one thing. We might say he's a Nigerian, he's from the southern part. At the same time, this is a Finnish citizen. The way the laws over there are going to treat him will be solely different from the way the Nigerian law will definitely treat him. Don't forget, everything happening to Nnamdi Kanu presently is completely being viewed all over the world. So the question is this: do we have a judiciary system that can be trusted? if Simon Ekpa is actually repatriated back to Nigeria. And again, on the other hand, on what basis are they going to say they want to repatriate him back to Nigeria? Do not forget, we're going to be having human rights lawyers and activists coming out in his defense, saying, no, you cannot deport him because he has never committed anything in Nigeria, because forensically, we're yet to see proof and traces, in my own opinion, that yes, Simon Ekpa has actually committed a serious crime to our own soil, Nigeria. That is the way the law is going to see it. So it is now left for Nigerian government, the Nigerian security architecture, to come up with a blueprint plan, saying these are the things Simon Ekpa has done, these are the ways he's been financing, and these finances are linked directly to him. If that is not established, it is going to be a very hard one for him to be repatriated back to Nigeria. However, don't let us forget, in Finland over there, Simon Ekpa might probably be given just ordinary fine penalty that, hey, don't do this again, stop it that way, and that's it, that ends it.
Mr. Makri, you have been with the DSS. Perhaps you want to tell us how huge these allegations are. Has he really committed any crime that has one way or the other infringed on Nigeria's national security?
Well, you have to realize that when people stay outside a country and incite, people inside another country, of course, it's a crime against national security. And when you look at it of what he has been doing, they sit at home, and then those who refuse to sit at home are being killed, openly. And then, of course, he has never denied that those are his boys doing what he has asked them to do. So you'll find out that, yes, these kind of crimes do happen. When you look at in the prism of national security, even radio, illegal radio stations.
I'm sorry, I don't think I'm going to agree with you on this one, Mr. Dennis, because in these states whereby we have the sit at home, do not let us forget we have legal governors there, we have established governors there, and we have established security forces there. So the question is this: what are they doing?
Mr. Makri, you want to respond to that?
Why have they not been apprehended so far?
Is that why you don't agree with me?
No, I'm not saying this. I don't want to agree with you.
Yeah,
but the point I'm trying to make is this: we have a governor, a sitting governor. Over time, okay. What are they doing?
Yeah, let's look at the facts first before we think of what the governors are doing. When people, I know people who live in the eastern part of Nigeria. People who don't, on Monday, they don't, what are you doing? You are still at home? Yes, they are not going to work today because today is sit at home. The people don't even listen to the governor because the governor does not even have the means of not enforcing that. Because if you don't stay at home and you come out, people have been known to have been killed. Okay? So they're talking about the powers of the governor to go and, stop these people. It's a different ball game altogether from what we're saying.
I hear you, gentlemen. Allow me to come in here. Let us explore what has been or what is expected to be a collaboration between both countries. I want to assume that both of you agree to the extent that his actions on social media, his call for funding is really an infringement on national security in Nigeria. What happens between Nigeria and Finland? For instance, earlier on in August, Finland's Minister for Foreign Affairs was here, and they were, alongside with other ministers, other Nordic counterparts, they were concerned about trade relations with Nigeria. Do you think they are under any form of obligation to have him repatriated? I know you raised issues of human rights concerns earlier, Mr. Oluwafemi.
Wait, before I continue watching the video, I want you to do me a favor. Like the video right now and drop a comment. By doing this, it triggered the YouTube algorithm to continue to recommend the video to more people. God bless you as you do so. Keep watching the video.
You see, what I'm still going to say is this. What we can do regarding what he's been doing on social media is simple. Cut him off the social media communication area If we can do that and establish that with the Minister of Communication we have in Nigeria and that of the Finland, then we are heading somewhere. More along the line, we seem to have allowed him to say everything he wants to say. It seems we have allowed him to incite hatred. And what we should be asking ourselves is this: what would have happened to a young man to have hated his country so much, to have this to have this bad intention or evil intention towards his own motherland, to the extent of inciting hatred, killings, and all the rest? So these are the things we need to really, really focus on and establish.
But we've not even been able to regulate social media in Nigeria. It will be difficult to regulate it all the way from Finland. Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back. Former Director DSS, Dennis Amakri, live with us from the US, security expert Oluwafemi Aratokunle from London. Gentlemen, thank you for staying the course on the program. Mr. Amakri, you want to respond very quickly to Mr. Aratokunle's comments earlier?
Yeah, what Femi is saying that we should cut him off the social media. That's a very, very difficult thing. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech is allowed. And of course, these countries, they are not going to agree with Nigeria that, hey, let's cut him off, because they believe in freedom of speech, freedom. Even Nigeria, it will be very difficult before you can do that. So he is there. I think there are other measures or other avenues, where they could find solution to this particular problem. He cannot say that he's not part of it. You cannot, of course, I know when you go to court, the lawyers will come up with all their evidence-based arguments, but at the same time, there are people that have even been arrested in Nigeria who killed people. And of course, when they were arrested, they confessed, about their leader. And there are documentary evidence to show that this man has been out there, inciting people to commit all kinds of things, But like the other part of what Femi was trying to say, I think is where the governors are looking emasculated, I think that one, they have to really, really work with the Nigerian security organizations to see.
Gentlemen, let us look at the security implication of what's happening now. Ipop continues to distance itself from the Finland-based agitator. He leads a faction of Ipop called Autopilot. Recall that there's also Nnamdi Kanu, who's been in detention since his rearrest in 2021. I'm wondering what you think, Mr. Oluwafemi, about how Simon Ekpa's arrest will impact on activities of secessionist groups in southeast Nigeria.
Well, you see, Simon Ekpa's arrest is not going to make so much impact, because if you want to measure what impact it's going to make, let us look at what's going to happen on Monday next week. Let us start from there. You know why? He's been arrested, fine. But the question is this: what sort of network do we think they now have in the southeast that is not even connected with Simon Ekpa, which they are actually on their own doing things and, committing all sorts of atrocities? So this stuff we're talking about, the issue of Simon Ekpa, Nnamdi Kanu, seems to have gone far more than what can be equally controlled just easily like that. So the question is this: state of emergency is not the point now, but the security architecture working well is what we should be thinking of, and which I actually agree with Mr. Dennis, who happens to be my mentor, that, hey, how do we work together? How do we, move together in one language? Because if you look at the military and the police, they are not working together. If you look at the civil defense and the police, they are not working together, let alone other junior agencies of security within that area. None seems to be working together. So the question is what is the level of trust we're going to have together to make this work? That is what we should be thinking about.
Mr. Marco, what do you think? Because conversations have been rife as to who really has has much influence on Ipop as we speak? Is it Nnamdi Kanu, who has been in custody for almost 4 years, or Simon Ekpa, who has been actively raising funds to finance, his secessionist agenda, bearing in mind that he was even planning a declaration convention that should have culminated on the 3rd of December?
You see, one thing is this. I don't think we are really trying to solve this problem. We are not solving it. It is not Simon Ekpa or Nnamdi Kanu. The major issue there is that there's a group of people in Nigeria who feel that they don't want to be part of Nigeria again. And this, separatist agitations is not only in the East. We have even the Odudua people, in the West, Sunday Igbo, and these people there. And even I've been hearing some people in Arewa also thinking about whether they want to move out, So you find out that there are these different kinds of agitations that are going on. And I think let's forget about these personalities, because they are just figureheads. If they die or they are removed, another one will come up, just like what we're doing in the Northeast right now. When Boko Haram, when their leader was killed, another one came up again. In fact, in their own situation, all the leaders, about 3 consecutively coming up with the same name, So that is not the issue. The issue is the problem, and how do we solve that problem? And I think this is high time we sit back, the government should sit back and look at these agitations. Indeed. If there are things that they could do to change it or restructure Nigeria in a different way, I think that is where the solution is.
Talking about solving the problem, we seem to have a history as a nation of responding to secessionist movements with force, as seen during the Biafran Civil War. Some say this approach has often aggravated the situation. Are you saying there are still alternative strategies for government as we speak? Some have suggested dialogues capable of addressing the underlying grievances driving these movements. There are also questions about who are the people to talk to and who are the stakeholders in this regard to hold this conversation. Mr. Macri.
There are different alternative means by which we can solve this problem. And I can tell you, it is not, we are not going to reinvent the wheel in Nigeria. Look at the United States. What is going on? Everybody, all the tribes in the world are represented in the United States. And they have strong institutions, and of course, everybody fall in line to, call themselves U.S. citizens, okay? And then, of course, now you can imagine the outcome of the recent election, because it's nationhood people are thinking about, not tribalistic divisions. Look at India. I was so happy when I saw the Prime Minister of India, Modi, visit Nigeria. There are 1.4 billion people. We're only 230-something million people in Nigeria. They have more ethnic groups in India. And how come they all have to, come together, agree, and do what they have to do? Nationhood and patriotism, I think, is what is lacking in the Nigerian situation. So we have to look at that.
Indeed. Let's take this conversation to London. Simon Ekpa claims that a referendum had held and that Biafra has a population of about 50 million people. What do you suggest as we speak as regards what government must do differently to identify the stakeholders, engage them, and ensure that there is peace in that region?
And you see, thank you. Not that we don't have stakeholders in the southern part of the country, which is the Igbo land. Even I personally, myself, as I speak to you, I'm partly Igbo because my mom came from the Imo State area, which is Abacheke, my area as well, and I'm partly Yoruba. There was a time when there was this group of people, Nnamdi Kanu and the rest of them. They came to London, they came to soccer, and there was a meeting converged over there, and I asked a simple question. Now that you want to leave Nigeria, you want to be on your own, what happens to someone like me, who happens to be half Yoruba, half Igbo? What should I do? And
where
the next
do you
thing,
go?
oh, Femi, you shouldn't have said this, blah, 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 blah. It became a problem. So what Mr. Dennis said, patriotism is key. Can anybody that's actually born in Imo State come out and say, yes, I am from Imo State? They will look at him that, no, you are Yoruba, you are not from Imo State. Can anybody born in Kano State who is an Igbo person now say, oh, I'm from Kano State, I'm a Kano citizen? No, they will say, no, lie. Things like this are things, we need a proper orientation about what patriotism is all about. So if we are ready to do this and stay together, that yes, we are one Nigeria. Who are you? I'm a Nigerian, not I'm a Kano citizen, I'm Bauchi, I'm this and that. Then we're heading somewhere. I'm not saying we can't have our different states, because in Nigeria we have 36 states plus Abuja making 37 and 774 local governments. Come on, we are a lot and we can do so much together. But the question is this: are we well represented with all these local governments we have in Nigeria? We have different cultures, different languages, but the question is this: if we don't solve this issue, then the insecurity we have in Nigeria will go on and on and on.
Some have also said that perhaps attention is to basic human needs and being able to provide security and welfare to the average Nigerian. Do you think this is a clarion call on government to begin to address these basic issues, Mr. Macri?
I think this call has been with government. Government knows it, but I don't know why it is not being executed. Even our constitution said it. The very first section there, whether the security and safety of the citizen is the fundamental objective of government. So why are we not looking at the security and safety of our people? That's the first thing we have to look at. We want to create even state police. People are like, oh no, we can't have state police now. I see people come on TV and say, oh, we cannot because the states cannot pay for it, and this and that and that and that. We have been, governors have been pocketing security funds over the years. And all these monies, why don't you, if that is the fundamental objective of government, why don't you take care of security before you even go and start building roads? Take care of security first, because that's a fundamental objective of government.
All right.
But we'll leave it aside and we'll go some other places, and that is, misplaced priority.
Gentlemen, we have completely run out of time. I'm sure both of you agree that we can exhaust this conversation in 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
So we'll come back to it. Oluwafemi Aratokwale joined us live from London. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Dennis Amakri, former director, Department of State Security, live from the United States. Gentlemen, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Roughly 54 years after the Biafran War, the question still remains, what does Nigeria do to resolve the continued agitation for secession in the Southeast region? Well, that's a question that must be answered. That's our show today. Thanks for being a part of it. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.
I'm sure you have watched the video and I'm sure you heard everything they explained in that video. I'm not going to be talking much about that. I'm not going to be explaining more. The only thing I'll ask us to do is that we should pray for Simon Ekpa. You see, some of us, when I say pray for Tinubu, some of us will be insulting me and all the rest. Now we are praying for Simon Ekpa. It is because I don't want to know where you belong. I just want you to be fine. I just want everybody to be fine. Simon Ekpa, Tinubu, all of them, I want them to be fine because they all have family and loved ones. So I don't want anything to happen to them. And I will always ask us to do this. That will do well to pray for our country, Nigeria. And I want us to pray this way. If it is God's will for Nigeria to remain as one, let Nigeria remain as one. If it is God's will for Nigeria to divide and separate, let it happen and let it happen speedily. That is the prayer I always want us to be praying. Instead of putting our energy into abusing people, fighting people, insulting people, we can actually decide to be praying. Prayer is very, very important. Insulting people is not the way to go. Abusing people is not the way to go. When I say pray, some of you will be insulting me, saying all manner of things to me because I asked you to pray. For me, I don't think that is the way to go. That is not the way to go at all. In a civilized nation, in fact, people who are civilized don't do that. You don't do that because I say pray for somebody, you start abusing me. But that's by the way. Let us do well to pray for Simon Ekpa. Let us pray that God's will for our country Nigeria be done. Whatever it is God wants to happen in this country, let it happen. If God wants the country to divide, let the country divide. That is my own. I'm not going to add any other thing to it. Some people may not want to be praying that prayer. In fact, some people may not agree with us praying that way, but that is in fact, it is the best way to go. It is the best way to go because fighting will not help us at this time. Abusing people will not help us at this time. Prayer is one important key we need. I have always said it and I will keep saying it. Prayer is one important key we need. So I want to encourage us that we do well to pray for our country, Nigeria, and let's do well to pray for Simon Ekpa. He's going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay, and God's will be done in our country, Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do well to subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bell so whenever I post another video, you'll be notified. If you return a subscriber, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for stopping by to watch our video. We love and appreciate the support you give us on this channel. May God bless you. May God reward you in the name of Jesus. When you call for one, may millions answer in the name of Jesus. Please don't forget, share the video, share this video, also share the platform, share with your friends and loved ones. God bless you as you do so. I'll see you in the next one. You are blessed.